Eddie Gregory with a record of 22 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 18 knockouts along the way. And Jesse Burnett has won 17, lost 4, and drawn once, and he has 8 KOs to his credit. He's from Los Angeles, Eddie Gregory from Brooklyn. And in that Galindez fight, we were most impressed with the way that Gregory could take a punch. Galindez, one of the great strong champions, put a lot of leather on him, and yet Gregory seemed to be fresh at the end and certainly gave him a great match.
Yes, Gregory finished up in better condition than of the two fighters. He was on the deck in the fight, but it was from a quick punch and didn't hurt him too much. And I thought he hurt Galindez a lot more than Galindez hurt him. Now,
Jesse Burnett is on the left of your screen in the lighter trunks. Eddie Gregory in red trunks on the right of your screen. Go ahead, Gil.
In this fight, you'll see that Burnett he gives you the impression that he's the aggressor, but he'll stand and stand and stand and wait for you to throw that first punch. And then he tries to counter punch. Now, with Gregory, what he should do is try to get busy. Try to move 2 hands. Put his punches together. If he stays around and waits all night to try to land that one big right hand, he may be still waiting at the end of the night.
Jesse Burnett with a knockout of Lonnie Bennett in the 6th round here on CBS last November.
Gregory is by far the harder puncher of the two. What he should do is try to keep bringing Jesse Burnett into exchanges. And in the exchanges, sure along the line, he's going to hurt Burnett.
Eddie Gregory had a little trouble making the weight. Came in over as it was on a second weigh-in. He was 177.5 at 10 o'clock this morning. Got down by a pound a little later in the day. Cost him a little money, I understand.
Yes, that's the regulations. If you come in overweight, you get fined, and half the fine goes to the commission and half goes to the opposing fighter, which I think is very fair. If he has to give away an extra pound, let him get paid for it. Both fighters are being a little cautious. First round. See, Burnett gives the impression that he's aggressive, but he's really not aggressive. He sticks the left hand out there, but he's fainting and moving his head and shoulders, but he's not winging.
Burnett, 32 years of age, born on February 23rd, 1946. Ranked 4th by the World Boxing Council. Eddie Gregory ranked 5th. Looking at them from overhead, on the left of your screen, Eddie Gregory, very feared right hand, throws it straight. Likes to wait for that opportunity to throw what he considers as the best knockout punch in the division.
Well, it is. He hits you right, you go.
18 KOs and 22 victories. Burnett-Bennett fight was an exciting one, Gil. Were you surprised at all by Burnett? Or is that what you would have expected?
No, I expected it. Lonnie Bennett is what we call a winger in our business. He's a good puncher, and he comes at you very, very aggressively, and you can hit him.
Final seconds, round number 1. Both comedies this Sunday here on CBS. Round number 2, Eddie Gregory and Jesse Burnett. Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy, bringing you this fight live from the Las Vegas Hilton. And remember, coming up, the world's heavyweight championship, Muhammad Ali against Leon Spinks. Gregory on the right of your screen, now moving to the left in red trunks. Burnett, kind of an aquamarine color with a white stripe, now on the right of your screen.
You know, being Irish, Tim, why did you just say green instead of aquamarine?
Well, that's not a real Irish green, Clancy. I can't go with that. It's not Kelly.
Any green is good enough. Burnett just threw a sneak right hand at Gregory.
Just missed.
And he just hit him low.
Grazed him on the whiskers, that right hand. Gregory, a very outgoing sort. He's been around the hotel here the last few days, watched all the workouts when he wasn't working himself. Very accessible to fans and writers. A charming guy.
I wish he was more outgoing in the ring, because he does have the talent, but he seems to get stuck in the mud. It's what I call being stuck in the mud. He stays in front of you, and the hands seem to be tied. Look ahead. He just isn't letting. He's not letting the hands go. And in the gymnasium, he's a devastating puncher. devastating spot.
Second round, scheduled for 10. Earlier, we saw Michael Spinks win an 8-round decision over Tom Bethea. Danny Lopez defend his featherweight championship with a knockout of David Cote.
In our business, they say, make them miss and make them pay. Now, Gregory makes a miss, but he doesn't make them pay. When he slips a punch, he's got to throw a punch. Hey, put three together.
Landed with the left hook, the last of the series. We talked about Gregory's title fight with Victor Galindez. Jesse Burnett was in there for the WBC light heavyweight championship against Miguel Cuello back in May. That was when John Conte dropped out of that fight. Burnett came in on about 24 hours' notice. Acquitted himself well, but in the end was knocked out by Cuello, who since lost his crown to Mate Parlov in a fight that Gil and Angelo and I brought you from Italy here on CBS.
Well, you know, even under the conditions that Jesse Burnett went into the ring, he did have Cuello on the deck. He's a good sneak right-hand puncher. He tries to lull you to sleep and then get over that one big right hand.
His wins over Yaki Lopez, Lonnie Bennett, Tony Mundine. He fought Galindez in a non-title fight and lost to him back in 1976. Final seconds of the second round. An interested spectator here tonight at the Las Vegas Hilton, Ken Norton. Will he or will he not get the fight against Muhammad Ali? An awful lot of money has yet to be put up to match them again. Most people think that it will come off somehow, somewhere. Round number 3. Eddie Gregory, Jesse Burnett, scheduled for 10. Two of the top-ranked light heavyweights in the world.
Both corners seem very calm between rounds talking to their fighters, Tim. I think I would be a little more animated in my corner because I think the fellow that wants to get busy and move his hands is going to be the one that's going to win this fight.
Jesse Reed handles Jesse Burnett. Chicky Ferrara handles Eddie Gregory. There's talk that the winner of this fight might get a shot at WBA champion Victor Galindez. If Gregory can win here tonight, he would very much like to have another go at Galindez because he felt when that fight was over that he had done enough to win. Most of us who watched it thought he hadn't quite done enough, but he certainly was a good match for Galindez, and I think a rematch would be interesting.
Yes, it certainly would. Well, you know, Burnett was supposed to fight Galindez on this card, and then Galindez got hurt in that accident, so Gregory is in as a substitute. It's a great opportunity for Gregory.
Burnett earning that chance at Galindez with his victory over Lonnie Bennett. But as Gil just said, Galindez hurt in a motorcycle accident just a few weeks ago. Unable to appear here tonight. Third round. Neither fighter has been able to assert himself so far, Gil.
No, there's been very, very little offense. Both fighters are overcautious.
Angelo Dundee has gone to the dressing room of Muhammad Ali. Final preparations for the heavyweight championship coming up here tonight.
Gregory's starting to put punches together now. He's starting to get the distance.
The referee is Ferd Hernandez tonight.
Ferd was a good fighter in his own right. One of the best middleweights around at one time.
Judges in this fight will be Hal Miller, Mike Kaplan, and David Moretti, who worked earlier on the Spinks-Bethea fight.
Gregory's starting to score real well now. Timmy, he's getting the distance. The jab is, as we say, he's going in one side and out the other, and he's starting to hook off his right hand. Just got hit a little low. South of the border.
Final seconds of the third round. Round number 4, Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy bringing you this light heavyweight fight. Eddie Gregory and Jesse Burnett. Gregory in the red trunks. Down the foreground on your screen.
Go get him, Jesse! Take him out, Jesse! I'm looking the body off the right hand.
First serious flurry of the fight here. The opening seconds of round 4. Good left hook from Gregory.
And Gregory's going to work now. As I said, he had the distance right at the end of the last round. And he's starting to get the distance. And his punches are very sharp and jolting.
Put it together! Put it together!
They're yelling from Gregory's corner to put it together. That means to the layman to put 2 or 3 punches together. Left, right, left, or a double right hand, whatever. But don't throw one punch.
Get off! Get off! Try!
Gregory scoring with that jab now.
So far, Burnett hasn't shown any offense at all. No offense. He doesn't answer back.
That's it, Jim. Stick. Break him with those shots. Right hand inside. Right hand. Loop it. Loop it inside. Bring it up, Billy.
You can hear Jesse Reed exhorting Jesse Burnett.
Come on now. Put it together. Bring it.
Sounds like they'd like him to fight inside a little bit more.
Yeah, and they're talking about looping uppercuts inside.
Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks for the heavyweight championship will follow. Brent Musburger and Ferdy Pacheco will be back here at ringside to bring you that one.
Gregory gets himself in good position, and then he seems to hesitate. He's got to just let those hands go.
Bring it. Bring. Last minute.
Gregory had a chance
again.
again. Had a chance again. He didn't get rid of the right hand. Instead, he just fell inside. Stucking punches that Burnett is not throwing. He's anticipating the other fella's punches, which is one of the worst things you can do in boxing.
Final seconds of the 4th round. Coming up next here from Las Vegas, the heavyweight championship of the world, Muhammad Ali, defending against Leon Spinks, the Olympic light heavyweight champion. Just 7 pro fights under his belt, getting the chance of a lifetime. And in the corner of Eddie Gregory, Carlos Lewis, one of his handlers, saying, put some punches together. Burnett is ready to be taken. Go after him. Do you agree, Gil?
Well, they were begging Gregory to put his punches together. They said, there's no way this guy can go 10 rounds with you. But unless he moves his hands, the guy's going to go 10 rounds. You know, they did give Burnett a breaker, a pneumonia breaker in the corner, a pneumonia breaker, which is supposed to clear his head. So apparently he was hurt, but I didn't see any punches to hurt him.
Me neither. 5th round, scheduled for 10. Gregory on the left of your screen. Tried to throw the combination there. Burnett backed away.
Putting them together now.
Gil, Burnett seems to have his head down as he's throwing punches. It doesn't appear that he always really sees his target well.
That's right. He's a little bit off balance. He's got a style similar to Ken Norton. He fights with his hands crossed in front of his chest, which makes him vulnerable for left hooks, especially left hooks to the body. And that's one of the main reasons that Ken Norton gives Muhammad Ali so much trouble. Because the punch to beat Ken Norton is left hooks to the body, and Ali just never throws. And Gregory has the same stand-up style, and he doesn't like the hook to the body. If If he started the hook to the body, now walk in behind the hook underneath it, have no trouble whatsoever.
Best flurry of the fight so far here in the 5th round as they have stayed in the center of the ring and exchanged punches after a slow start through the first 4. Gregory looked over our way, Gil, as though he was looking for a little advice from you. You gave him some in Italy, as I recall. You and Angelo both.
We got carried away rooting for the Americans.
Against Victor Galindez in the title fight.
Now he's starting to punch to the body a little bit. He's got to get that left hook underneath.
A little bit of blood from the lower lip of Eddie Gregory. Oh, good shot. Good, Gregory.
You know, that head moves, but the body doesn't move. The easiest place to hit a guy is in the body. Burnett is tired. 5th round, and Burnett is tired. Fighting with his mouth open. Gregory at times fights like a wooden soldier.
Round number 6. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy at ringside here at the Las Vegas Hilton as we await Gregory and Burnett. And there's the bell for the 6th round. Gregory seemed to assert himself a little more with some combinations in the 5th round. Gregory's corner, Gil, feels that Burnett is tired enough that he can go down here with the right punches.
Yeah, they're imploring him to get him out of it. They said, make a big hit on national television.
There you go.
They'd start throwing that left hook underneath, he would get him out quick.
Gregory from the Brownsville section of Brooklyn.
Come on, let's go, Jim.
Born and raised there, and real fan of Brooklyn. Always wants to talk about. Make sure you mention that for Brooklyn.
Gregory just made the classic move. Left hook off a jab. There are not too many fighters that can do that. Ray Robinson was great at it.
Ray Robinson in attendance here tonight along with a whole lot of the fight crowd, and Gregory saying, hey, Jesse, you're hitting me low. Don't let it happen again.
Well, you see, that's Eddie. He's very unemotional in a ring. If he showed a little more fire, if the guy hit him low, get a little angry. I guess we can call him Steady Eddie.
Gregory with wins over Frankie Davila, Matt Franklin, Eddie Phillips.
Now, Gregory definitely is the boss in this fight now.
Come on, let's go.
Round number 6, scheduled for 10.
Come on.
Number 4 ranked Jesse Burnett. Number 5 ranked Eddie Gregory.
Hold the coaching down in the corner.
You could hear referee Fern Hernandez saying, hold the coaching down from the Gregory corner.
Just warned Jesse Burnett for a low blow.
Wondering about the printing on Gregory's trunk. It says Flame Gregory.
Just plain Gregory.
Hasn't been able to light the fire too well so far, but in command, as Gil Clancy has indicated. Really asserting himself in the 5th round and doing so again here in the 6th.
Burnett just landed a good right hand. This is what we want. This is what we need.
Seemed to wake Gregory up.
Action. Well, wakes both fighters up.
Final seconds of the 6th round. Well, we have Eddie Gregory slightly ahead here, in command over rounds 5 and 6, although Burnett came back well in the 6th round near the end of it and got himself close for what could be scored as an even round.
Right hand behind it.
This is the 7th round. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy at the ringside.
Right hand behind it.
You know, Gregory's corner, they sound like a cheerleading section. They're begging Gregory, open up, loosen up. Your career's at stake. But Eddie just goes that one steady pace. Well, now they're both stuck in the mud.
Good short left from Burnett.
Timmy, earlier I mentioned that if a fella's got a good right hand, sometimes he depends on it a little too much. You can just see Eddie Gregory staying there waiting for an opening for that right hand. And Burnett is just too smart a fighter. He leans over to the right and he just does not open himself up for a right hand. Gregory has to open him up, and he has to open him up by doing other things like hooking to the body or throwing a straight right hand to the body to get the fella's hands down. But he's waiting with that right hand good and high, just looking to hit him on the chin.
You know, we have to say at this point that this fight has been a disappointment, somewhat of a surprise from what we expected. It figured to be a stronger match than this, and so far it's been a question of neither fighter really taking control.
Well, I tell you, both fighters' careers are at stake. They both have an opportunity to fight for the championship of the world, and it has been a disappointment. Gregory's bleeding from the nose. He got hit a couple of real good punches, and he's angry now.
This is the 7th round. It's scheduled for 10. Eddie Gregory, Jesse Burnett, live from the Las Vegas Hilton and in the beautiful brand new Sports Pavilion. It opened here last November. Crowd of about 4,500 jammed in here for this great card tonight. I must say our two preceding fights were better than this one. We've got Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks to follow.
Gregory is actually attacking Burnett from the wrong side. He should be leading with left hooks to the body.
Final seconds of the 7th round. Eddie Gregory getting some more instructions from Carlos Lewis, Chicky Ferrara, and Jesse Reed talking to Burnett. Burnett looks to be in some pain. Looks like they are working on his legs over there. He had been complaining to Jesse Reed about his legs, and we quite clearly heard the comment back, not your legs, it's your wind.
Yeah, he looks very, very tired at this point.
Bent and start working to put this guy to sleep.
I love to listen to you guys talking to the fighters in the corner, Gil, when you have the chance, because I always feel, boy, it's easy for them to say. They're not out there taking the shots.
Well, I tell you, Tim, but the fellas in the corner, they do see the openings.
Oh, sure.
And they know what to tell a fighter if they're experienced. And if the fighter does it, you find out he usually does get the results.
Absolutely. I'm only kidding. He's got to have that, got to be able to take that kind of guidance and coaching, and the good ones usually do if they've got good people in the corner.
You see, Timmy, here, the way Burnett leans, he leans to his right, his left shoulder is up, so it's hard to punch over his left shoulder. But he's leaning right into a left hook. If you feint the jab and hook, you can't miss him. But Gregory keeps trying to go to the right and hit him with right hands. He can bend any time he wants to dig a hook to the body, but he hasn't done it yet tonight. We're into the 8th round. There, finally threw a left hook underneath. And another. Should stay, just keep digging.
Right hand inside, just right hand.
See, he's waiting to throw that right hand. Sometimes I wish he didn't have it. He'd probably be a better fighter.
Well, and he talks about it a lot. I mean, he feels himself, that's the knockout punch, the knockout hand.
Yeah, but you can do that when you're fighting preliminary fighters, amateur kids, but now he's in with a real experienced pro. He's got to open that fellow up.
Gregory 26, Jesse Burnett 32.
In the front leg. Work. Straight right hand, Jesse. Straight right.
Eighth round, scheduled for 10. Neither fighter has indicated that it might not go the distance.
Well, as I say, with so much at stake, you'd think they would be fighting with more fire.
Talk of another title chance against WBA champion.
It's been promised. It's been promised.
Burnett scoring inside.
Well, this has been a big round for Burnett up to this point.
Time, fellas. Greg, dig. Keep that shoulder right.
You may have heard the warning from referee Ferd Hernandez to Burnett. Keep that shoulder out of the action.
And that's the shoulder I was talking about that Gregory keeps trying to fire a right hand over. So obvious.
Coming up, Leon Spinks challenging Muhammad Ali. Final seconds of the 8th round. That's the end of the 8th round, with Eddie Gregory and Burnett not being able to accomplish much at all through that round. We're going to call it even. And certainly one of the interesting things during this past month, the build-up for the Ali Spinks fight, has been the fact that Muhammad Ali did not talk to the press or anybody else, except perhaps his wife and family. But yesterday, I guess he couldn't hold it in any longer. Expounded quite liberally to the press and then to the fans in the hotel lobby. Let's see if he's talking now at all. Our Bob Halloran is in his dressing room.
Well, Tim, can you hear me okay, Tim?
Sure can, Bob.
Well, he's had a lot of friends in here, and I would say that in all of Las Vegas, and especially the sports pavilion, that Muhammad Ali, the great champion, has been the most relaxed person anywhere around within miles. You have talked about just about everything. You've visited a lot of friends, champion, but you have not talked about your opponent, Leon.
Well, I've been in so many battles until I'm just tired of talking. I talk a lot.
Any prediction tonight?
No predictions.
But you will win.
Well, I hope so. Do my best. I believe I will. The odds are that I should win.
Good. Good luck to you. Back to the fight, Tim.
Okay, Bob, we're in the 9th round now. Eddie Gregory, Jesse Burnett, scheduled for 10 light heavyweights. Burnett on the right of your screen if you join us along the way.
You know, last round, Tim, Gregory threw some good body shots, and as we said, it did open Burnett up with some head punches at the end of the round. Now, he started out this round, he threw 2 good body punches, and now he's back to the old Gregory again. That's better. He has to lean in and punch underneath. Burnett is fighting a cute fight. I think right now Burnett is just looking to land one good sneak right hand.
How do you have it going into the 9th round here, Gil?
Well, I think Gregory is fairly comfortably ahead. And as I say, Burnett right now is going to have to hit him and hurt him and make a good, strong finish.
Jimmy the Greek set the odds before this one, as he has for all of our fights during the evening. Jimmy, how do you have it now?
Now I have Gregory 3 points in front.
Another field goal, eh, Greek?
Yeah.
You know, fighters are funny. Many years ago, I was bringing a fighter into Madison Square Garden. I had worked with him for 2 months. On the way into the arena, some little fella tugged him by the shirt sleeve and said, "Watch out for your opponent's left hook." Now, I talked to him for 2 months. This fella talked to him for 10 seconds. He spent 10 rounds looking for this fella's left hook and lost the fight.
Gregory trying to open him up along the boards here, along the ropes here.
And the reason I told that story is apparently somebody must have told Gregory to watch out for something for Burnett, because he can open up anytime he wants. He's a much harder puncher, much stronger. But he's looking for something. I don't know what. He can dig underneath now. He has the fella just laying there waiting to get hit. He's waiting. His corner just said, what are you waiting on? It's that obvious.
Come on, work to the body. Come on.
Well, in addition to having all of the skills of a boxer, you've got to be able to think in there too, Gil.
I guess this is what you would call a slow-paced fight.
Not what we expected. They both, off their last performances, Gregory against Galindez, Burnett against Bennett, figure to be showing us a lot more than they have so far. Final seconds of the 9th round.
Well, as a champion now, most of the people have cleared out here. He's just looking in the mirror, looking at how pretty he is and shadow boxing. I guess he'll do this, Houdini, for what, about 5 more minutes?
No, until they call him out. He do things with his feelings. Don't nobody tell him what to do.
Well, he's gradually has not yet worked up a sweat, but I imagine if he does that for a few more minutes, he will, and he will probably be perspiring quite a bit by the time he goes down to the ring, right, Brew?
Yeah, he works with his spirit, feelings.
As we said before, he is certainly most relaxed, and when you consider that since back in 1964 when he won the title from Sonny Liston in Miami Beach, he was about as relaxed then. I had the opportunity to be in the dressing room at that time, and he was about the same way, not much more excited. So let's go back now to the action in the ring and Tim Ryan.
Okay, Bob Halloran, this is the 10th and final round, and perhaps the final opportunity for Eddie Gregory and Jesse Burnett to show that they have earned a title shot at Victor Galindez, the WBA champ.
Well, I think the only way that Burnett can win now is by a knockout, and they must have told him that in the corner because he is showing a little life. And probably will until he gets hit one good solid punch.
Well, Eddie Gregory, while he may be ahead as we have him, and we don't know about the cards of the judges, just really hasn't done enough to call this an impressive victory.
That's correct. And, you know, as you said, Timmy, we never know what score the judges are going to come up with. That's why I have this white hair. I'm really a very young fella, you know. I've worried about many of these decisions.
How come Angelo Dundee doesn't agree with you about your age?
Angelo Dundee, that old fella?
Angelo getting champion Muhammad Ali ready. Of course, the champ does most of that work himself, as you just saw moments ago in his dressing room.
Burnett now looks like he's completely lost his snap. He's ready to go. He's ready. He's not going to make the run.
This is the 10th round, and
he's ready to go.
He just fell back very tired more than
he's ready to go. I saw it just before he stumbled back. He's got no snap left in his punches.
Why doesn't Gregory go after him? I mean, it was flurry.
Remember the nickname, Steady Eddie. Getting the job done.
Well, that staggered him, and it was not that great a punch.
Now he's leaning in with the left hooks. Now he's leaning in.
Good left hook from Gregory.
Referee should definitely stop this fight. That's what I'm thinking.
And he does. Bert Hernandez
Well, we stopped it
has
together.
stopped it in the 10th round. I think he heard you, Gil, but now he was headed that way, and so Eddie Gregory